grills in my mouth double as a freeze. The grills in my mouth double as a freeze. The grills in my mouth double as a freeze. The grills in my mouth double as a.
All right, man. We're here with Dilano, Postman Taylor. Thanks for joining us, man. Crazy last 2 weeks for you, probably, right?
Yeah, pretty crazy, yeah.
So let's just start here. You beat Rory Macdonald, obviously, 2 weekends ago. Is this, you think, the most coverage? I think it's probably fair to say it's the biggest achievement of your career so far, right?
Yes, sir. Definitely the biggest achievement of my career, I would say, yeah.
Yeah, for sure. I've always wanted this question. Does the term upset bother you? Like, because I hear the word upset a lot, like around your win when you beat McDonald. People say upset. Do you take that as like I'm wondering for the person that wins a fight when they hear the word upset, like, do you take that as an insult almost, or as a negative thing, or do you just don't really care about it?
Yeah, I mean, I kind of take it as like kind of a term of like an insult, but at the same time, I already know the work I'm putting in, so I'm never surprised whenever I do something great or achieve
Yeah.
something pretty cool, you know? So when I hear upset, it kind of just fuels the flame, you know, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I know what you mean. It's definitely you took the fight, you didn't get a full camp for the fight, did you? It was a little bit of short notice.
Nope. I was told like a week and a half before to be an alternate, not for who, just to be an alternate for the tournament, like I've done for the past 3 fights. This is
Yeah.
probably the first fight that I'm about to have where I'm actually able to take some time, recover, because I know who I'm fighting. You know, like I know how to set up a training camp for this guy, and I feel like nobody has seen me have a training camp for anybody just yet.
Yeah, that's a crazy thing about PFL too. I want to, because you had a pretty sorry, I'm just looking here. You had a pretty big Titan FC run. You had about five fights there, and you got the championship there. And that's obviously more of a traditional MMA, standard, the way it works. And PFL is definitely different. When it came out the gates, it was honestly, at first I wasn't sure how I felt to it, but I'm kind of warming up to the season idea and the structure of it. What do you think of that? Because you have what, 5 fights in 2022 with the way the structure works, don't you?
Yeah, this is about to be my 5th fight in 2022. Yeah, this next fight.
Yeah. So what do you think of that? Is it hard to adjust to as a fighter, or is it? Do you like it more? Do you like it less? Like, what do you think about it?
I feel like I like it more had I known who I was fighting the whole tournament, but I didn't. So because I really like to fight consistently. When I did my Titan run, most of my fights, the 5 fights I fought that I had in Titan straight, I fought those fights in about like 6 months.
Right.
So I was like fighting super active when I was with Titan. So like it was really easy for me to do that. And that was perfect for me. I like that setup a lot. Like I feel like I'm young, I'm pretty active, but I'm as old as I'm gonna be. If that makes sense. So might as well just get it while I can, you know?
Yeah, for sure. I guess the transition for you yourself wasn't hard because, like you said, you were pretty active when you were in Titan FC there. But I'm assuming for not most people, so some fighters that only like to do 2 or 3 times a year definitely is adjustment. But yeah, like I'm saying, like as a competitor, you enjoy it, and even as a viewer now, I've definitely warmed up to the idea of it, right? Because especially like when you get these big promotions like UFC, like the big stars, like the fighters you want to see for the most part, only you see what, once or twice a year. You might not see them at all that year. So definitely from like a viewer and a customer and a fan standpoint, PFL is pretty exciting too, because we get to see you fight 5 times in a year, or Kayla Harrison 5 times a year, or McDonald 5 times a year. So it's definitely fresh and it's exciting, and I hope it stays. I hope there's other organizations that adapted, or PFL grows. It'd be great, because I definitely think the competition, especially with the Kayla Harrisons, with yourself, with a combination of the young talent like that was bred through PFL, not necessarily bred, but made their names in PFL, and then you get the guys like Rory Macdonald's. Who else? What other veterans have come over to PFL? I'm trying to think off the top of my head here.
Rory Macdonald, Anthony Pettis.
Yeah.
Who else? Oh,
Nogueira, right?
UFC. Nogueira came. Also, they just signed Shane Burgos.
Oh yeah. Shane Burgos is the biggest signing. So I think with the combination, like you guys have the right combination of veteran names, and then people like yourself that have come up and gained popularity through the PFL brand. I think it's dope, man. You guys are with the streaming. I'm not sure if you know, but Fubo, right? Is that who the streaming for you guys
ESPN.
are? Oh,
ESPN.
it's ESPN. Okay.
They
I
only
saw
do
that.
they do Fubo for the Challenger Series primarily,
Okay.
but
Okay.
they do stream on Fubo as well. Yeah,
Yeah.
mainly ESPN.
That's crazy. You guys got the ESPN deal, man. Like, it's the top sports in all the world. I have this question for you. Where did the nickname Postman come from? I've been curious about that the last few weeks, ever since I asked you to be on. Like, where the fuck does Postman come from?
Okay, so the Postman came about as in I wanted to come up with a name for myself because I didn't want anybody to name me. You know, like I feel like words are powerful, names are powerful, and then if you give a person the opportunity to give you a name and that name sticks, you know, you kind of have to either live up to it or come up with some way to make it work. So the name the Postman came from like during me having a tough time in my life, where I felt like I was gonna quit fighting. It was like 2016. I was gonna quit fighting. It was a really tough time, and I was working like 4 jobs, and trying to help support my family and everything. And I remember like really being like depressed. Like it was serious. Like I didn't want to do anything. I didn't want to. I was literally. I felt like I was dying every day, like the way I was living. And I came up with the name the Postman because during that time, I kind of had to come to the conclusion that tough times don't last. All the people did. I just kept doing everything one day at a time, making things happen, making things work. And over time, it got better. It got easier, and it made me realize a part of myself that I'm stronger than I think I am. I'm mentally stronger than I think I am. I'm physically stronger than I think I am. And I basically wanted to deliver a message to people that they can do whatever they want. Like they can be whoever they want. They have to just really embrace that grind. Have to really just put themselves in those positions. Like for instance, like Leon Edwards, like he's a prime example of a person who came from the trenches. Like he said, he had to really put the work in, go through that grind, and now he's a champ. Also, I wanted the name to be like a double entendre because I deliver fades, so it was
Yeah,
like it kind of was a play on words as well.
yeah, I saw that. I saw that in your bio. I deliver faves, and I'm not a barber, or something along those lines.
Yeah,
That's a good
exactly
quote,
right.
man. That's a good one. That's a
Yeah.
good one. So you're going. So with that win against Rory Macdonald, you're going to the finals now. Is that how?
I'm about to fight in the championship. I'm fighting for the belt for the $1 million.
So if you don't mind me asking, just if as much as you want to say, how does the pay structure work? Do you sign whatever your contract and you get paid, and you get paid extra? I know it's $1 million for the finals.
Mhm.
Is that how that works? So you get the $1 million in finals, but is there still a pay structure per fight throughout the season?
Yeah. So you get, of course you get paid like it's a regular fight. Everything,
Right.
you get your normal pay, and then per fight it increases. Per win, it increases, not per loss, but per win it increases.
Right.
And the fight structure for the finals is, of course, you get paid to show, and then when you win, you get $1 million. So that's just how that goes.
That's crazy, man. I like that, man. I like it. I'm even talking to you now, just hearing how the pay structure works. I like that. It's exciting, right? And it keeps you coming back. It gives you that feel of a championship. Like you get to do it again and again and again.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a big basketball guy, so I like the idea of seasons. Like I like sports, like team sports as well. So that's really cool. Let's go back to your Titan FC run. Just talk about, like the primary, like what you experienced there and how you're like, you had about 5 fights there. And just talk about, that being your first or professional organization, like consistently, that looks like you entered. Like, correct me if I'm wrong, but just explain like how your experience was there and how that worked out for you. I can't hear you. No, I can't hear you.
Okay, now you can hear me.
I can hear you now. I can hear you now. I can hear you now.
All right, cool. Yeah. So I would say my Titan FC run was very short-lived, but I feel like I gained a world of experience in that run because of me taking so many short notice fights, or taking just fights against just about anybody, like not caring who I fought. It kind of put me in a mindset where like I genuinely believe like on short notice, on any notice, you put me in the cage or anybody, I'm gonna be a really hard matchup for anyone. And at least with Titan, I had the opportunity to take both short notice fights and opportunities to take fights where I could actually methodically plan out who I was going to fight or how I was going to fight whoever I had to fight. I feel like Titan FC was a really great experience for me personally, like coming up on the regional circuit. And I was definitely grateful for the opportunity to win my belt and, of course, defend it, 2-time Titan FC champ. So that was pretty dope. The way it's ran, I liked it a lot. And I feel like up and coming, I think it's a good show for a lot of kids out here in South Florida, at least, and shoot, kids who are probably down to travel to Miami to come fight. Yeah, I think it's pretty dope.
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, so you're okay. Yeah, Stuart's from South. How's the fight scene down there? Because I know I'm from Ontario in Canada, and ever since shit's been locked up here. I mean, you would never know because you guys are fucking in Florida, but shit's been locked up here in Ontario for a while. It just opened up 8-9 months ago, and once that happened, there's been a boom of a lot of regional promotions, BTC, and a bunch of gyms. Niagara Top Team. They have Aaron Jeffrey who just knocked out Vanderford last week. Jasmine. They got Mike Mallet who knocked out Mickey Gall. They got a bunch of people in the pro. So what's the MMA regional scene like down there?
I feel like right now, and I think during COVID, I think Florida became like the mecca for MMA.
Yeah.
At least South Florida. I can't say all of Florida. South Florida. Let me clarify, because like Miami, Broward, that part of Florida is like a different place. Like honestly, separate Miami-Dade, Broward County from the rest of Florida, and that's like one. It's like that's a state of its own. So I feel like the MMA scene out here is pretty good. Like you can get everything out here. Like you can go to any gym and it'll be like a total institution. Like you can go to one gym, get grappling, striking, strength conditioning, recovery. Like Sanford, for instance, that's where I train at. You can get everything all in one place. Like that's almost unheard of when you go to other places, like other states or other countries. Like I've gone to a bunch of different gyms, other places, and I've seen how it's ran, like facility wise, and like what we have out here in South Florida is really like truly a special thing. Like it's not like a very common thing that we have out here. Like there's a lot of opportunity. There's a lot of hungry guys out here ready to fight, and I think it's really active out here.
Did you Masvidal had his game bred fighting? Was that in Florida, the first one he had?
I believe it was at the Hard Rock. Yeah.
What'd you think of it? Did you get a chance to watch that at all or no?
Nah, I never got a chance to watch it.
Right.
I didn't get a chance to watch it because primarily, like, I have no problem with like bare-knuckle or anything like that. It's interesting to watch, but I can't really dig too deep into watching that. You know, like I feel like it's different fighting MMA where like the rule set is, you know, this and that. But I feel like bare-knuckle takes some real time off your life. Like,
yeah,
I don't know, man. I think it takes a lot of time off your life.
It's definitely wild. Like, so yeah, it was because there's a bare-knuckle FC, and then the game bred's kind of like a weird hybrid between MMA and it's like bare-knuckle MMA almost. It's not just bare-knuckle boxing. It's wild, especially when you get to the ground and pound, and
it's insane, bro. Yeah, I can't.
Yeah, I know. But you know, as a fighter, I can understand how it's insane. But bro, as a viewer and as a fan, it's wild, especially when you get a good one like the Mike Perry and MVP just fought this past weekend, which is wild.
That was a great fight. I like that fight. That was just bare knuckle boxing. I don't know why MVP thought he was a boxer. He's not a boxer.
No.
I don't know why he thought that bouncing stuff was gonna work. Like his best weapons are his kicks, and you can't utilize your kicks in a boxing fight. So I don't know. I don't know what was going on through his head. Honestly, he should have stuck to the 10-ounce gloves, and you know, been in a boxing fight as opposed to a bare knuckle fight. You know.
Yeah, I feel like Mike Perry's born for bare knuckle fighting. He just seems like
100%.
He seems like that type of dude. Like him and Sean Strickland. I think Sean Strickland's born for bare knuckle fighting too.
I think Sean Strickland can do bare knuckle boxing very well. Actually, like I feel like for Mike Perry, he needed to take his time to he needed to have his run in the UFC to kind of like develop the striking mindset.
Yeah.
But I think he just needed to wait out the time for bare knuckle boxing to really blow up, because honestly, he's making probably a lot more money bare knuckle boxing than he ever made in the UFC.
Yeah. No, yeah, for sure. Speaking of the bare knuckle boxing, I just want to one more quick point on that. Do you think there's longevity to that, like to that specific promotion, BKFC, or? Yeah.
I think there's longevity in that because it's entertaining. Like people like to see violence. They like to see that gory stuff, you know, and it's fine, you know. I think there's a lot of longevity in that sport. Do I think there's a lot of longevity in the fighters in that sport? No.
Yeah.
I think by the end of it, like if you don't make mad money, you're gonna walk out of there very punchy, very messed up in the face and in the head. Honestly, so I don't know. I don't recommend it.
Yeah, I wouldn't. What do you make of all this? I'm kind of going all over the place here. What do you think of the so obviously Sam Alvey, you know, UFC had 9 fights, he got released. And what do you think of all the he had his beef with Jake Paul. What do you think about the whole Jake Paul situation, man? Like, dude, what's I always like to get fighters' opinions on it because everyone has like I was talking to I had Sam Alvey on the podcast a year ago, and he was telling me he trained with Logan and Jake, and he said Logan was actually a decent like in terms of fighting because he's a bigger dude, and he said he had his own opinions about Drake, and it's funny that their beef's kind of popping up now just on social media. But what do you think of the whole like Jake Paul specifically, and then what do you think about the whole celebrity boxing thing as a whole?
I think Jake Paul is a very, very, very intelligent businessman. I think he really knows how to use the algorithm for social media.
Yeah.
I think he really knows how to work a crowd of people. And I think he really knows how to rile up people to create victims to fight. Because, I mean, look who he's fought, really. He's fought Ben Askren. We already knew how that fight was going to go. I never expected Ben Askren to win, regardless to his wrestling pedigree. He's not a striker. He fought MMA. He's not a boxer. That's just how that goes. Right. He fought Tyrone Woodley, another guy who was literally on a 5-6 fight skid.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, who's also not a boxer, whose striking is very, very suspect. He fought him twice. I mean, he knows how to really rile up a crowd. He knows how to really make money, you know? I think Jake Paul is very, very intelligent. I think he really knows how to get people going. That's what I think about him. The whole celebrity boxing, I think that's also very entertaining. I actually kind of enjoy watching celebrity boxing a little bit more sometimes than actual MMA fights because it's like nothing technical about it. That's one. I don't really got to think too hard into it. Like it's like watching a cartoon. Like you wouldn't think half the stuff they throw would actually work, but it works on each other. It's crazy.
Yeah, I think the key to enjoying celebrity boxing is not going into it wanting to watch like a technical fight.
Yes.
Just you have to have a different mindset, just entertainment value, like you said, right? It's just like it's like watching the homeless people fight on Reddit. It's like the same thing, right? Like you're not expecting not expecting like anything technical, just pure entertainment. I want to quickly go back to PFL because for me, when I think of MMA promotions, I think UFC, Bellator, PFL, and ONE. To me, those are like the big four, like the four most mainstream ones. Of course, you have your other ones, but to me, those are the big four. There's always these conversations, right, between fighters with different divisions. Like, oh, how would Adesanya do against MVP? How would Nunes do against Kayla Harrison? How do you think you yourself would match up against the competition in the other big three in UFC, Bellator, or ONE, or specifically Bellator or UFC? Like if you're plopped right in the
I think if I was popping in the division in the UFC, Bellator, I think I'd do very well. I think a lot of people would be surprised at how well I would do. I think a lot of people are surprised now at how well I'm doing. Like they didn't expect me to come out here to be an Ultimate 3 times and now fighting for the belt and $1 million. You know, like they didn't expect that out of me. And I feel like I also haven't really shown what I can do. Like I haven't shown my full pedigree. Like people don't know what I'm capable of doing just yet, you know. I think I think I've matured the most and I've shown the most experience that I've gained while being in PFL. Like my run in PFL, like I feel like I've gained the most comfort and the most IQ fighting wise, at least, while I've been in this run. So I think if I were to go to another organization, I don't care who you put in front of me. I don't think they'll do anything to me that these guys in PFL did me, but they thought they could have done to me, you know?
Right. What do you think of just a few quick things before we wrap up here? What do you think of that? You kind of touched on it about the Edwards Usman fight, man. That to me was one of the most wildest comebacks in MMA history general, right? Like I can't like.
Yo, that was insane.
That was insane, right? It's super inspirational to hear what Leon's corner was saying to him too. Did you hear those clips of like they're all over YouTube of his corner talking to him, hyping him up? It's like super inspirational as a fighter. Like I'm sure you can relate to that. Like that moment when you're in the corner and things may not be going your way, and then the corner says something or you get some words of inspiration that just fire you up, right?
Yeah. With Leon, I feel very closely related to him because he's like in kinsmanship, like because we're both Jamaican, so like the upbringing was pretty much very similar, like the same. So like the stuff he's saying, like I can deeply relate to it a lot, and I feel like when that fight came about, I kept telling people I feel like Leon is a very very tough matchup for Kamaru, even though Kamaru beat him like years ago. I thought Leon was a tough matchup. Honestly, Leon has everything. He has all the tools. He knows how to strike. He knows how to grapple. The only issue was that Kamaru had the mental edge over many people he fights in the division. Everybody's so mentally petrified of Kamaru's wrestling that they just kind of crumble under him when the time comes. But I thought Edwards had decent enough grappling to like counteract that, which he did. He showed that in the first, and he showed that like throughout the fight. You know, before he got kind of like laid on for like the 3 rounds afterwards and beat up. So I thought Kamaru, between Kamaru's wrestling and his mental edge that he had over everybody, I thought Leon could have probably edged it out. It didn't go the way that I thought it was going to go, but he definitely did win. So, I mean, it's crazy. It's crazy. It was just crazy to watch. It was just insane to watch. And this sport is such a great sport because, like, it doesn't matter how down you are, you always have the puncher's chance. It's crazy.
Yeah, you don't get that. You don't get that in any other sport. Like, it just those moments like that. Like, the only moments I can recall like that in watching MMA is obviously the Leon Edwards one. The home Rousey moment was huge, and the Aldo Connor. Like, those are the 3 like all around biggest sports for me, like around biggest wow, holy shit moments. I think all 3 of them.
Connor, yeah. Chael Sonnen and Anderson Silva.
That's a good one too. Yeah. The only thing for me that doesn't rank that high for me is because Anderson was like the champ. Like, to me, it was cooler that Leon got the shocking win to become the champ. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I know I'm getting picky there, but if I had to rank them, that's the only. Yeah,
that makes sense. And Anderson became the champ like his second fight in the UFC. Like, I feel like the UFC has evolved so much that like there are so many guys who come in whose names I don't know who are like, like, who are you? But like back then, it was just so easy to just build a name for yourself. Like, if you just knew how to, if you had the right matchups, and there weren't a lot of guys who actually understood the concept of mixing it up. Yeah. So now that we have a bunch of guys that know how to mix it up, it's a lot different.
Yes, like, especially like in terms of recognition, you're right. Like Leon Edwards, one of the most quiet 15 fight win streak of all time. Like, the guy was going in 15 fights straight, and he was never brought up. Like, for years and years, like when Usman beat Woodley, I remember hearing like, oh, Leon Edwards. Then as Usman beat more guys, and he fought Masvidal twice for some reason. He fought Kobe twice.
Kobe twice.
Like, I know. It's so, like, I think Leon Edwards, he's probably the most deserving, most proud title win I can think of. I mean, the Teixeira title win was definitely a very proud moment too. But Leon Edwards, man, just shout out to him. And I'm assuming your opinion, that you probably get the rematch done if you had to.
Yeah, I think I don't know. It's a tough for me because once you get knocked out like that, I don't think you're like, it's different. Like, once you get knocked out like that, it kind of changes your perspective on certain things, like, especially when you watch the knockout too. Like,
that's gonna fuck you
up. Jesus, bro, it's like insane. But I think in a rematch, I think Kamaru could potentially like definitely do the same exact thing, depending on how he is mentally. But he's so mentally tough. I don't think anything will change about him. But there's always that factor, like, once you lose a fight like that, it does mentally affect you.
Yeah, like that guy. Yeah, I know what you mean. Especially he was undefeated in the UFC, Usman. So definitely, like,
he's on a 15 fight win streak. He was literally right under Anderson Silva. He's about to break his record or tie his record.
That's got to be a kick in the nuts too, man. Like,
that's like to start. He's definitely not going to start back from zero because he's about to retire. I'm sure. Like, maybe one more fight and then he retires. I swear.
His body's breaking down a lot too. I remember he was on like his knees. I've heard this from different.
He's had so many surgeries. It's ridiculous.
I know.
He's like the Tin Man.
yeah, I know. I think Usman will go down as one of the greats, maybe in terms of UFC. For me, it's hard to, in terms of welterweight. GSP is just what he did. It was so great.
Not just what he did, but how he did it.
Yeah,
Kamaru was. I won't take anything from Kamaru because he definitely can be. He can go down as a legend or a great in the sport because everybody here is a Nigerian nightmare. They know exactly who that is.
Yeah,
they already know they don't want no problems. So that's just how I see that.
It's a shame he never. I don't think he'll ever move up to middleweight now. It's a shame we'll never see that. That would have been awesome to see him in middleweight though, because he's huge for a welterweight.
I don't think he would ever move up to middleweight.
Yeah, because him and Izzy are really close. Is that the reason you think, or you just think he's
Nah, I don't think he has the size for middleweight. He's pretty small.
Okay. Yeah. Oh, okay.
It's like he's big for welterweight, like comparatively, but I think like size wise for middleweight, he's pretty small, like in comparison. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've seen a lot of middleweights compared to him, like because he comes down to Trafford sometimes and trains. So I've seen him train, and I've seen like his size. I think it's like comparatively, there would be no reason for him. It would be a bad business move really to go up. You know, I don't know. Yeah, that's what I think. And I think Kamaru's a businessman as well as a fighter.
Yeah, he might just go box. He might box Canelo. I don't know. I remember
that's what he's been trying to do for the longest.
Yeah, I know. That'd be. You never know. You never know. I hate to keep asking UFC questions. This is my final question before I let you go. Just quick thought. Khamzat Diaz, September 10th. I know you're doing that face. Do you think it's the Nate Diaz funeral everyone's calling on social media, or do you think
that's what everybody's calling, bro? I think the thing with Nate Diaz is he'll come and surprise the world with some weird stuff, and sometimes he'll get the job done. Nate Diaz as of late, I don't think he's getting the job done. I think Khamzat is definitely a Khamzat funeral, and I definitely think it's already set up for Khamzat to come out there to be the new blood to fight for a title contention.
Yeah.
You know, and Khamzat's only had 4 fights in the UFC, 5 fights in the UFC. He's already about to fight for a title contention. That's insane.
They're like skyrocketing him.
That's so rare. Like that's so rare now, at least.
Same thing with
so many guys.
The next division. Like Alex Pereira is getting a title shot after only 2 fights in the UFC.
Yeah, which is crazy. Like that's also very rare. Like for instance, like you have guys like there's another kid at welterweight right now. He's undefeated, and honestly, he's been in the UFC a lot longer than Khamzat. He beat Jake Matthews. He beat a couple good guys. And
is it Sean Brady?
Sean Brady, yeah.
Yeah,
Sean Brady,
yeah.
And they haven't given him a chance. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, like he's literally like
he beat Chiesa.
He beat Chiesa.
Yeah.
I think he subbed him. He subbed him, right?
He out wrestled Chiesa, man. Yeah.
Yeah, he subbed him, bro. Like freak. Like, come on, bro. Like I feel like if there was anybody who would be more deserving of a title contention, it'd be Sean Brady. Like he's been in the UFC for so long already.
I think Brady's fighting on the Khamzat card, this next pay-per-view. I think
they're probably trying to set it up that way then. Like I think Khamzat would end up fighting for the title contention, or he might end up fighting Brady because now they're already going to set up Usman versus Leon. Versus Edwards twice for the 3rd time.
I just hope. Yeah, I'd be crazy if Nate just beat Khamzat and threw a wrench in the whole UFC.
That would be insane.
Just says fuck you guys and leaves and never fights again. It's his last fight, right? So
I'd be excited, bro. That's crazy.
That'd be wild, man. It's exciting time to be you're a fan as well, just as you are a fighter. So you can understand like it's exciting time to be an MMA fan in general with all these like PFL is putting on great cards. Like you had the win, your fight against Rory Macdonald. You got the finals coming up. We've had the Anthony Pettis, the Anthony Pettis experiment hasn't been as good as thought it was, but that's just timing, just later time in his career. But all of the MMA organizations around, I just think it's the best time to be a fighting fan, man. It's great.
It's the greatest time to be a fighting fan right now. Yeah, most definitely.
Yeah, for sure. So Dilano Taylor, thank you so much for hopping on, man. I messaged you a few weeks ago and you responded right away. Thanks for hopping on, man. I'm excited to what you fight in November, right?
Yes, sir.
All right, man. Guys, watch Dilano Postman Taylor November, PFL finals. He's fighting for $1 million, guys. So, yeah, wish him luck. I wish you luck, bro, and thanks for hopping on, bro.
Appreciate you. Thank you.
Yeah, for sure.